Hi, I'm Christy. I'm the social worker, and I'm going to be getting some information from you today so that we can see what your needs are.
Okay, my name's Maria.
Hi, Maria. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
So, before we get started, I just want to let you know that anything you say to me is confidential, with the exception of if you give me any information that you or someone you know is planning on hurting you or someone, or if you disclose any suicidal feelings to me, I would need to report that for your well-being.
Okay.
Okay. So, Maria, can you tell me how old you are? Oh, I'm going to take a few notes, if that's okay with you, just to make sure I get the information accurately.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds okay.
So, can you tell me how old you are?
I'm 25.
Okay. And do you live with anybody right now?
I have a roommate.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been living together for about a year.
How is that going?
Good. Yeah, we have a 2-bedroom apartment, so it's pretty good.
Okay. Okay, so where did you live before you moved in with your roommate?
I lived with my family, with my parents.
Your parents?
Yes.
Any siblings?
Yes, I have 2 older sisters and a younger brother. Only my younger brother still lives with my parents.
Okay. Okay, how is your relationship with your parents and your siblings?
Well, with my parents, it's kind of strained just a little bit because, I'm 25 and I'm in graduate school, and they kind of expected me to be more like my 2 older sisters are married and have babies, little ones, and they kind of wanted me to just sort of settle, in that kind of lifestyle. My mom was a stay-at-home mom, and but I have a good, pretty good relationship. They just kind of get on me sometimes about my choice to go to graduate school and to remain single right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So
where would you say you get your support from?
Well, my sisters are actually pretty supportive of what I'm doing. They sort of wish that maybe they had waited before they got married and finished some education and had careers. But so they support me in my choices and encourage me to keep going and sort of to disregard what my parents say. And then my roommate, because she's also a graduate student, we sort of roll with the overwhelming feelings that can come from being in graduate school, and then I work part-time, so she's a good sense of support, as well as some of the other graduate students in my cohort.
Okay. So, what kind of support would you say you get from your parents?
Well, there's no doubt that they love me. They're affectionate, they're always happy to see me. We do a lot of family gatherings, like a lot of Hispanic families, birthdays and baby showers and weddings and all those kinds of things. So I'm always, included. Every once in a while I have to decline something, but I try not to because it means a lot to them for me to be there and stay really connected to the family, which is important to me too.
Okay. So, what would you say brings you in here today?
Well, I feel like where I'm at with my life with graduate school and working part-time, and that I'm feeling really overwhelmed and anxious a lot more than, I think is manageable for me, like how I've, tried to manage it before. So, yeah, I mostly feeling really anxious and that's pretty much what is going on for me, just the anxiety.
Okay, so
Yeah.
when you feel overwhelmed, what does that look like?
Well, like I'll start kind of like shallow breathing and maybe even shaking a little bit, sort of a little like in the pit of my stomach will get, I don't know, it's sort of like butterflies but not exactly, and I'm just experiencing that more often, like before I go to class or having to go into work, knowing I have schoolwork, then I start panicking over my schedule and how am I going to get things done, and
Okay.
yeah.
How were you referred to us? Did you come in on your own, or did you have
Yeah.
some persuasion?
Well, I would say there was a little persuasion. My roommate was really encouraging me, like, she has seen the change in me of being more and more anxious and upset or worried about getting things done that I need to do, and so she suggested that maybe I go see you and get some services there at the university. So.
Okay, so you agree with her on reasons for being here?
Yeah, I think that maybe it's starting to get too much where I don't really know how to manage or cope with the frequency of my panic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does your family have any history of mental illness?
Not that I'm aware of. It was pretty much like my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad went to work, and so she managed the household. And as my sisters and I grew up, we helped more and more. So she didn't ever seem to be really overwhelmed. And my sisters were pretty stable. So I think it's for me, it's just a crazy schedule right now. I have to try to manage.
Okay. So when you're not in school, like if you're on a break or something, how are you feeling?
Relieved. Yeah. And I still just work part-time even when I'm on summer breaks, and so not having classes and assignments and all that, yeah, it's definitely more
Okay.
calming for me and more peaceful, restful time. But they always go too fast, those breaks.
Yeah. So, where do you work?
I just work at the ARCO. I work a night shift usually, and
Behind the counter?
yeah.
Okay. Have you had any other jobs besides ARCO?
Yeah, I've worked in like a. I worked in a grocery store when I was in high school, part time, and then during my undergrad years, I worked at the university bookstore.
Okay. What are you going to school for right now?
Well, my master's is in psychology.
Oh, okay. Have you thought about what you want to do with that?
Probably. I probably want to teach, like at the community college level. That's what I'm
Okay.
thinking, and maybe have a, when I get a license, have a little practice on the side. But I like teaching too, so.
What do you like about teaching?
I don't know, just just learning, teaching others things because I liked learning. So being the person to give out that kind of learning and help students just, develop their minds and their thoughts about different subject matter, especially when it comes to psychology. I think it's really, fascinating.
Okay. So I asked you about family history of mental illness. What about physical illnesses or other medical illnesses in your family?
Well, my dad has diabetes. He's overweight. I think that contributes to it. And then my mom has had some intestinal kinds of issues,
Okay.
but otherwise they're in good health. They, make sure they go to doctors and get treatment. So I think most of my grandparents passed away with a heart condition.
And how about you? How's your physical, medical health?
Good. Yeah, normally it's good. Just occasional, flu or something, but
Okay.
I know if I have a lot of stress that, I can end up also getting sick from that, so that's another reason why I wanted to sort of get things managed, because they can't really afford to be sick.
Okay. Okay. So, what about substance abuse? Is there any substance abuse, history of substance abuse in your family or with yourself?
No, nothing that I would say is at a level of, abuse. I think maybe my little brother might, smoke pot here and there and have beer, here and there, but doesn't seem to have gotten to a point of being a serious, issue. It's kind of social for him.
Okay.
But my sisters never were like that. They weren't partiers. My parents were pretty strict and kept a pretty good eye on them.
Okay.
And all of us, being a kind of a traditional, type of family that,
Mm-hmm. Has anyone in your family ever been suicidal?
No, don't think so. Not that comes to my mind. One thing about, like our culture being Catholic, that means suicide is considered like a sin. So it's not something that often, I don't know. I think if people in our family had any thoughts about doing that, they probably wouldn't tell anybody,
Okay.
just because it's kind of taboo that you would even consider that, because it's such a grave sin.
Okay. thoughts of not wanting to be around anymore?
No, no, not at all. I think because I have goals, and I mean, life does get stressful. It is stressful for me, but I'm looking forward to, finishing my master's and moving on to the next step. So I feel like I have plenty to, live for, and that would really hurt my family, if I ever did something like that too. So that's definitely a deterrent again in our, in our culture. It's kind of not something you consider.
Okay. Tell me about your relationships outside of your family. Do you have a significant other, or?
No, and that upsets my mother. That I'm 25 and still single. Like, both of my sisters were married by the time they were 20, and so again, she's like, you need to have babies before you get too old. And so yeah, she tries to, set me up sometimes, but I just right now focusing on school and work. It's just it's not like I don't want that at some point, but at this time in my life, I think just, I don't feel lonely because I have a roommate. I have plenty of things that are filling my time, that they're kind of good distractions from really being concerned about dating or, any of that kind of stuff. I just feel like there's plenty of time for that to happen.
Have you ever had a relationship with a significant other?
Yeah, I had, boyfriends in high school, and I'd say my last kind of more serious relationship with a boy was maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And then when that broke off, I was kind of like, yeah, right now that's just too much for me, to try to fit in.
So how did that relationship end?
We just both felt like if we weren't like serious at that point and making a strong commitment, like, becoming engaged or something like that, neither of us were really in that place in our lives. So it was a pretty amicable split.
Okay.
We just see each other every once in a while, just bump into each other, and we're friendly. So yeah, it didn't cause me any really emotional distress or.
Okay. Are you taking any medications at the moment?
No.
Okay. What did you get your undergrad in?
I have a BA in psychology.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit about your strengths? What do you like about yourself that you feel?
Well, I feel like I am goal oriented. I've sort of set up my timeline for reaching my goals, my educational goals, are mostly what have been, the forefront of my mind. And so I feel like I've been successful. I get good grades and, do well. So I feel like that's a really good thing. I feel I have pretty healthy relationships, with my family and the friends I have.
Okay. Can you tell me about any qualities that you feel could be improved about yourself?
Well, maybe how to fit in some, self-care or something to relieve some of my stress. I think that because I've never felt overwhelmed to this degree before, I don't really know what to do about it. Other than like dropping out of school or doing something drastic like that, which I don't want to do. But I know that, like I said, that if I keep going like this, the stress is going to probably take its toll on me. I know enough about, with my studies in psychology, I know enough about what can happen to the body physically when you're under, that kind of stress.
Okay.
The body takes a toll, so trying to pay attention to maybe the signals that my body's trying to tell me.
Okay, and how often would you say that you get those physical feelings from feeling overwhelmed?
Well, recently I probably feel at least once a day, if not a couple times a day. Sometimes it's just anticipating having to, go to class when maybe I feel like I haven't prepared well enough, or I didn't finish the reading, or I just know I have an assignment coming up, so just thinking about my classes, or then again, like, going to work, so it can, I work 5 days a week, but they're, shorter hours, so it's not considered full time, but it's still frequent.
And
So
then you have school on top of
Right.
it. And how many days do you spend at school?
I go to school 3 days a week, and I have 4 classes each day, so school is considered full time, so.
Okay. I don't know what else to say.
Well, so let me ask you, like, is there good treatment for me? Like, do you
There's
think?
definitely treatment out there. What I'd like to do is have you fill out a GAD-7, which measures anxiety and gives us a good idea of where you are and what we might need to do next.
Okay.
After that, there are medications for anxiety, but I think I'd rather start with a non-medication intervention first. And those are actually something that I can review with you today. Have you heard of mindfulness?
Yeah, they use that term a lot these days. So.
Okay. So the
I'm trying to see if it had quit yet. I can't see the. Sorry, can't see the time.
the purpose of mindfulness is that the person slows down and focuses solely on one or two, but one main thing. So it could be through focused breathing. It could be through going for a walk and paying attention to your feet hitting the ground. But just focusing on one thing can help you get your mind off the stressful things that are bothering you. And so that is definitely something I would like to practice with you and see if that helps. I would I would be interested in having you go to a doctor just to make sure we're not overlooking any medical issues that could be contributing to your anxiety. Um, but after we're done here, I will give you the GAD-7 and see where you are right now with the symptoms, and then talk about various methods of mindfulness or meditation, deep breathing, things that you can do anywhere that may help you feel less of that overwhelmed feeling.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
I think it sounds good if it doesn't like have to be for a really long time, because that's kind of part of my issue, is not feeling like I have time to complete everything. So are you talking like, is the mindfulness, is it like an hour a day or
I would start
something
you
like
out with 10 minutes a day.
okay?
So if you think you have 10 minutes to set aside to um, focus on something that's just for you, not for school, not for family, but just for you, then I think that would work out well. I could give you a journal where you could keep track of your mindfulness activities, and probably also keep track of how you're feeling when you enter that activity and how you feel once it's over. So that um, could show you that it's working.
Okay.
How does that
Yeah.
sound? Is 10 minutes okay with you?
Yeah. Hopefully I can find 10 minutes for if it's going to help me in the long run, you know, with how I feel, because I don't want to keep feeling this way.
Okay.
It just isn't pleasant at all, and it's starting to worry me, which is compounding it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm worrying about worrying, or, you know, stressed about being stressed.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you said that you're goal oriented and that you get pretty good grades in school. Outside of school, what would you say are your strengths?
Um, well, I think for the most part, my family relationships are like I try to be a really good um, aunt to my nephews and nieces. I have 4, so I try to, you know, be present for them when I can be, and so I think just you know, those family relationships is something that I continue to try to invest in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said you have a good relationship with your family, but you also said that um, you feel pressure from your parents um, about what your goals are. Like maybe their goals aren't the same as yours.
Yeah.
So, how does that come across when your parents express those ideas that go against what you're doing right now?
Yeah. Well, I kind of just like tell them they're like old fashioned and old school, that not all women have the goal of getting married and having babies, you know, right away. That it's it's just important to me to get this kind of education and do, you know, have that option to be pursuing a career, and that I, I share. Uh, I do want to. I try to tell them, I do want to get married and have babies, but I have time for that right now. I want to do this, and try to kind of appease them a little bit. But sometimes I feel like a real disappointment. You sort of get that. Why can't you be more like your two sisters? And of course, my brother is a senior in high school. They're not putting that kind of pressure. Again, it's just traditional roles of male and female that my family, my parents really hold to. That it's okay for him. They're like, where is he going to go to college? What does he want to do? They kind of pressure him to have goals, but with me, they sort of want me to kind of let go of those goals. But they're proud of me too. I know they are, because they know I'm doing well. So.
Okay, so do you get those feelings of overwhelmedness and the feeling in the pit of your stomach that you described? Do you get those when you communicate with your parents?
Sometimes, like when I know I'm going to have to tell them, when I've been invited to a family gathering or something, and I know I have to tell them, well, I can only stay an hour because I have schoolwork to do or whatever, I start imagining like what their response, that they're going to try to talk me into staying longer and kind of go into the, like, you work too hard in school's, and so sometimes I feel anxious about having to tell them, yeah, I can't just be there all night like the rest of the family.
Okay. Would you say that school is the main contributor to your anxiety?
Probably the demands of school, of my schedule and assignments, I think would probably be a source, but it's also the balancing act, trying to meet all these other responsibilities on top of school.
Okay.
The work responsibility, because I need the money. I need to supplement the the financial aid I'm getting, and then the pressures from the family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me see if I have this right. School and family are the two main contributors to your anxiety?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Well, I definitely think that we can find some relief for you.
Good. Glad to hear that. That's what I need.
Okay, so I told you about the anxiety assessment that we do. I told you that I'd like you to see a medical doctor to rule out any other factors that may be contributing. And we talked a little bit about mindfulness. Do you have any questions about any of the things we've discussed?
No, not right now. Just wondering maybe when we'll be meeting next.
Our time's up. Okay. All right. Well, I will get that form for you now so that you can fill that out for me, and we can schedule an appointment for. Is 1 week okay?
Yeah, sure. I think so.
Okay, we'll do that then.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so I don't know if that probably ended already.